Today's lesson is with regard to different patterns of evolution, and it was taken from the AP Biology for Dummies booklet. The first kind of evolution I'd like to talk to you about is convergent evolution. Convergent evolution occurs when species that are not closely related evolve similarly. For example, a dolphin and a shark, their bodies are aerodynamically similar. They have similar fin structures, but they are completely different with regard to evolutionary relationships. They have evolved analogous structures, and so they have converged or moved together in their structure and function. Alternatively, we have what is called divergent evolution, and divergent evolution is exactly the opposite. Divergent evolution is when organisms have a common ancestor, but then through time and over different habitats and whatnot, they develop structures that are homologous, that started out the same way, but because of adaptation and mutation, they have diverged into different structures. And divergent evolution leads to speciation in several ways. First of all, we have what is known as allopatric speciation. And this happens when populations become separated into two entirely isolated subpopulations. And because of genetic drift and natural selection, each subpopulation eventually are unrelated and become separate species to one another as a result of that separation. Parapatric speciation occurs when a very small subpopulation becomes isolated from the larger majority. And because the gene pool is so small, there is what we have called founder effect. So the small populations, because of their very, very small gene pool, adapt and change very, very quickly and become separate from the main population. Parapatric speciation are when two sets of organisms remain in the habitat but enter a different niche. And so there is no physical separation, but because they learn or adapt to a different type of resource, they become speciated. And finally, sympatric speciation, it's very rare. It is the most difficult to understand and to discern because it happens without any barriers whatsoever. And so it is almost a random or unpredicted type of speciation. Now, with parallel evolution, this is hard to tell the difference between parallel and convergent. Parallel evolution occurs when organisms come from different ancestors. They evolve in a similar line to other organisms. And so they may be in an environment together, but they evolve together. And finally, coevolution occurs when two different species evolve together and are working together to be evolved. For example, the hummingbird in this picture and the flower, his beak is completely adapted to the flower in which it obtains nectar from. And those are the different patterns of evolution.